Thanks, folks, for your time tonight, and thanks, Mike, for setting this up. At Movement Mortgage, number of reasons why Mike and I are here. One of the key ones is just some of this training that we are able to put together and put money into to help educate our partners, realtors, in developing their business. And we've got 13, I think, now of these courses in our Agent Marketing Academy. This has been a popular one, marketing to millennials, probably from the most influential consumers in history. And it's really interesting to go to. This has some really good detailed information. It'll first kind of define the millennials for us, define how they shop, how they kind of work, and then take us into ways of attracting them, alerting them that we'd like to work with them and all. So really cool deck and some good information. I'll go through it relatively briskly because it could kind of drone on, but any questions, interruptions, thoughts, comments are welcomed, and we'll take it from there. So let's see how we kind of learn about these millennials, and first some stats about them, which are pretty astounding, actually. So who are they? They're the largest generation in the country now, surpassing the baby boomers, which is eye-opening to a lot of folks. So 83%, or 83 million make up the millennials, and I've got two of them. They're great kids. They're not necessarily what a lot of people think they are, but there's some negative connotations we hear about them being difficult to pin down. Not a lot of attention, moving back with parents, and this kind of addresses the reasons why. The deck will kind of address some of the reasons why that happens, and actually how we're probably not reading them accurately, and how we can kind of help them out based on new knowledge. So. What else do we know about them? Average age about 27, I'd say closer to 28, 29 from when this was written. Average age of real estate agents across the country, 57. So there's certainly a gap about how the millennials act versus how maybe the average age of the population of realtors interacts with them. Median income, 73,000 for millennials. Good for Mike and I. 97% of them, when they buy a home, will be financing that purchase. So they all, for the most part, will need mortgage assistance. 76% of them will be first-time buyers. So there are some millennials who have already purchased once and may purchase a second time as a millennial, but that only makes up about 25% of them. And astoundingly, 75% of the workforce will be comprised of or by millennials in 2025. So they're a big piece of our economy and a big piece of consumption of all goods in the United States and the world, for that matter. Where their money is, so they're spending, currently about $2.5 trillion annually, and their projected income in trillions will be about 3.4, surpassing the baby boomers this past year or currently. So a lot to contend with. So, what defines them? Every generation has a definition, and with the millennials, it's technology. They grew up with it. It's, as we call here, their second skin. I mean, they're very connected on their phones, computers, and they use technology to unearth and investigate just about everything. So, we've heard about. I didn't hear about it until recently. Wasn't all that up to speed on this stuff, but fear of missing out, FOMO, that defines the millennials, and that's actually a good thing. That's a good thing for us. They have a fear of missing out. So if people are buying homes, if people are getting mortgages, their friends, their family, they want to kind of participate and investigate and find out about it. So that's a good thing for our industry. 54% of millennials are going to check their social media while lying in bed, 51% using the bathroom, eating a meal, unfortunately 32% while driving, even with all the warnings. And yeah, probably, yeah. Who's self-reporting that? And 88, average of 88 texts a day by the millennials. So that's a lot of finger work there. Yeah. There's a lot. So here's, where we start getting into, okay, so how do we deal with it and work with these guys, with all this technology? So, how do we communicate with them? Well, phone calls can now be as meaningful as in-person get-togethers. So, back in the day, it was more important to get together face-to-face. Now they're fine with a phone call, presumably. Retweets or likes to information can be as relevant as an email for them. Texts can carry the weight of a phone call. One of the past was like, you can't call me, you're going to hide behind a text. They're cool with it. And emoticons and emojis can be just as impactful as the real thing. So, the key here is not trying to guess which way is best to communicate with them, but just have a conversation when you're interacting with them. What's the best way to communicate? Are texts good? Do you want a phone call? Could be a combination of things, times of day. Their times of day of communicating may be very different than what we anticipate or think. So, and every one of them is probably, maybe a little bit different. So it's just a matter of, I think, just clearing the deck with them up front and deciding what the best way to communicate is and when. Another sidebar note, 53% of them would give up their sense of smell, apparently, as opposed to their social network. So it is their second skin. So we've been talking about how hyper-connected they are. And, so they have a couple of big influencers. So friends and family are big influencers. They're going to run everything by them. Online reviews are huge. Restaurants, bars, real estate agents, mortgage, lenders, they're going to check online reviews and look for gathering information. And 68% of millennials won't make a major decision without running it by their network first. And who's their network? Well, it's their friends and family, as well as any of their interactions online. So again, fear of missing out, but also wanting to get some reassurance in their decisions from their network is important to the millennial age. So, sticking to family support, and this is where, again, I mentioned I have a couple of them, and one lives at home with me, but not because she's boomeranged, but that's not a bad moniker. They grew up in an age where we had the financial crisis, right? They witnessed family members, friends, parents, friends, parents losing homes, losing jobs. So they have a little skittishness about maybe getting into the real estate market. So we need to kind of understand that, in working with them. Also, if they rely on their family support and they move back home for a bit, so what? That's not necessarily, a bad thing. Another reason that they're doing it is they're kind of, saddled, as we hear, with a lot of student debt potentially. And, they'll see or hear in the news how much debt they have and they can't do anything because of this debt. And that's not necessarily the case. So, as we'll see as we go forward. Even though they lived through the financial crisis, they have student debt, maybe they moved home to save some money, they're the most optimistic, generations, still. 85% of them feel that they earn enough now or will in the future to lead the life that they want. So that's good news. And almost half of them believe that the country's best years are still ahead of them and outpacing the baby boomers and the Gen Xers. So they're optimistic, even with those, headwinds that they face. They are incredibly socially conscious, and this is important to know, and we'll kind of talk about that over the next couple of screens. So you may not have heard of TOMS. TOMS is you buy a pair of shoes and they donate a pair of shoes. Huge philanthropic organization that's gotten a lot of attention for it, and it's important to their brand and to their growth. And when a company has a big philanthropic approach and is tied to some kind of charitable good, it's cause, and they market it, it's called cause marketing. And why is this important? Well, these are small to read, but you can see the numbers are 90 or approaching 90, and 278 million Americans feel that it's okay, number one, for a company to have a cause, and number two, that it's okay for them to advertise or share that they have a cause. And millennials expect a lot of agencies or companies or people to be involved in causes. So when they're researching us, when they're researching realtors, they're looking to see that we're giving back in our communities and being charitable and philanthropic. An example of one here, I don't know if you've heard of Give Back Homes, but Give Back Homes is where real estate professionals, you can go on their site and become linked with them. And you can contribute a certain amount of your earnings, even a very small amount if you want. The proceeds go to developing different projects, whether it be weather-torn areas or third world countries or areas of need. And this is something that you can share and post on your postings or on your personal page and show that you're involved. So it's if you're looking for somewhere to start, this is maybe a place that you can start giving. This is just an example of a realtor out in California who had secured a listing and had gotten it, winning it out over other agents based on the seller was passionate about giving back and saw that this agent, gave back, was involved with that group that I just shared on the previous screen. So some food for thought there. Here at Movement, just real briefly, 51% of our company is owned by one of our founders. 49% is owned by the Movement Foundation. So 49 cents of every dollar that we net profit goes to our foundation. And with this foundation, we've built schools. We've gone on missions in third world countries. We have a program where we as employees can contribute, pay, some portion of our pay each month, and each dollar that we contribute, the company matches, and those funds are used to, when we have employees of our own that are in need, someone has a spouse who, lost a job, or they're, had a loss of a house in a fire or something in our hard times. Our company has funds to give the family and keep them on their feet while they recover. So we are, if you were to, search Movement in the Movement Foundation, it's just numbers and numbers of things that we're involved in. And one of the main reasons why I'm here is just because of the culture and that philanthropic good that they have. So back to the millennials, keeping in mind social and philanthropic involvement is important to them. So not every millennial is the same, all right? So for this presentation, we've kind of dissected them based on how they're being defined. So younger millennials, those 24, 25 and under, are called the explorers. They're still finding their way, finding their career, getting out of college, traveling maybe a little bit. But the latter half of the millennials, the olders, the aspirers, are the ones that are, we're focused on and are on a path to finding success. So we'll talk a little bit about them. So the aspirers are ambitious people. They are focused on achievement. Home ownership is a big part of achievement. So even though we might think that millennials are going to be apartment hoppers and want to live within the cities, they don't ultimately, just based on studies and research and surveys that have been done. So they're definitely interested in achieving, and home ownership being a big part of that. So some of the market research. So here's what has been uncovered in research regarding millennials and home buying. Some of the things that are keeping them from home buying, 64% of them feel it's down payment. They feel that you need 20% to buy a home, and I'm assuming everyone here knows that you don't need 20% down. You can have zero down with a lot of the programs that we offer here in the state and even across the country. But millennials aren't aware of that unless they're, speaking to us. Student debt, again, they feel they have student debt. They hear, geez, you all this thousands of dollars of student debt, you can't do anything. Well, our job, Mike's job, my job, is to consult them, sit with them, run the numbers, and show them, with your debt, here's what you can afford. So, so it's important to, get them connected with a mortgage person. Credit card debt and credit score, same thing. That's where we come in. Knowing how to start, that's where real estate agents come in. You'll see as we kind of go through this deck a little bit that they're looking for help, guidance, and that's where realtors can really step in and help them out and separate yourselves and grabbing them as clients over some other agents that may not take the right approach. So the average credit score for a millennial is around 625. Not a great score, but certainly not a score that eliminates them from any programs. We can lend in just about all the products that we have in and around that range. So that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily that they have bad late payment kind of credit, but they've got newer credit or not a lot of depth of credit or a decent amount of student debt and they haven't paid it for a long time. So their score isn't reflecting the history yet. But nonetheless, it's something that, again, Mike would certainly be able to work with the folks and show them what programs they fit in. So with all this, there's some good news for the millennials and for us for the millennials. 76% of them want to buy a home if they can afford one. That's our job to show them. 78% feel that owning a home is an important part of the American dream. 67% would buy sooner if they had confidence in the housing market. Again, they lived through the housing turn and the financial crisis, so that's where your consulting, your expertise in sharing them about what's going on in the markets that they're interested in could alleviate some of that concern. And then, all of us would love this last one. We would buy sooner if we wouldn't lose our down payment if the market goes down. Well, there again, that's education. The values can ebb and flow, but historically, values have risen, and there are other benefits for owning a home, and that's again where you come in as a consultant for them and help them understand about home ownership and real estate ownership. How do they make purchases? I don't think a lot of this is going to be surprising to us, but interesting nonetheless. So 87% of where they search to shop or purchase is going to be online. For real estate, they'll also not only do it online, but they'll engage real estate agents and brokers. They'll consider some for sale or open house signs, friends, relatives, or neighbors, home builders, print ads, and then direct mail last. So a lot of online and then directly with the realtor as far as real estate goes. As far as buyers who are considered more than one agent, their group is as high as 62% of them will consider more than one agent before they make a final decision on who they're going to work with. So there again, by knowing kind of how they operate, how they think, how to communicate with them, when the best times are, what they're interested in, could be the separator when they're looking at 1, 2, or 3 agents that will get you their alliance as opposed to losing them to someone else. But they will check and they will shop. And then how they are going to evaluate an agent. So they're going to look for market knowledge information. They'll visit your website. They'll ask friends and families if they have any experience with the agent. So with your social media, with your websites, think about having some charitable organizational stuff on there. Share things about the community, about yourself, things you like to do, not just what you do. That's what they're going to be looking for when they're going on your sites. They'll look for online reviews. Remember how important reviews were for them. They're going to look for some online reviews before they make a decision. And then they may look up some past sales history to look at the experience of the agent. And then ultimately, you get to the interview part. So that's kind of a whole flow of decision making that they're going to use before they decide on which agent that they're going to select. And those first 2 pieces, evaluating your knowledge and visiting your site is going to be huge, and that's going to be what you show them on your social media and on your website. Just real quick, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this page. Source of down payment, roughly 25% of first-time buyers are going to get a gift from family. That's okay. It's okay with baby boomers. That's up to it's up to Mike or myself to show them the proper way of enacting a gift so that it meets all the mortgage requirements, but that's perfectly fine. So some marketing do's and don'ts when we're trying to interact with them. So absolutely stop selling and just start helping. We don't want to come on strong. We don't want to just start pitching them. You want to start helping and show how you can help them in order to gain their trust. So not sure where this quote came from and how valid it is, but finding a real estate agent I can trust is difficult, according to the millennials, and no, seeing your face on a billboard or a bus bench isn't helpful. So they're looking for more substance than that. And this is Amy Cheroux, VP of Development, Platform Development at Better Homes and Gardens. You make sure your website, blog, and social media presence is a source of solid information for them. Don't rush a meeting or hit them with sales or marketing pitch. Simply provide relevant information about the process and develop trust is what they're going to be looking for from you. Providing helpful information. 74% said the biggest benefit from an agent was helping them understand the process. If you remember way back, one of the slides, same thing was said. So, it's just, sitting them down and kind of explaining how the whole thing works, just getting them to understand the process, building and developing that trust is going to be huge. So, in thinking about your social presence, visual content is important. And we'll share some tips and some places where you can get some in developing your sites or enhancing your sites, but using things like infographics, ebooks, videos, and slide decks are huge. That's very attractive to this group. But it also needs to be in kind of snackable content. They're going to be, if they're doing 88 texts a day and they're, have all these different things that they're doing, they're looking for quick information. They're going to be in their cars, maybe in the passenger, might be, as they're driving by properties, checking out certain things. So little snackable bits and bites on as far as your social media content goes is going to be important to attracting and catching them. And we'll cover a couple of these as we go forward here. So here's why the content of what you post matters. It's going to showcase your expertise. It's going to attract your target audience. Whoever you're trying to capture out there, you want to build your social media around. It's going to help you engage your audience, increase your reach, and then certainly build your trust. So this, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. In fact, Mike has a copy. I'll get him a copy of the deck, and he can share it with you guys so you can have all of this detail. But yeah. So, so with these are all the different social media things that millennials engage in, or actually all generations engage in these days. And based on who you're trying to target or what you use for social media, or how you want to depict yourself with social media, these will kind of show you which sites are the ones you should be spending your time or putting your information on. So, so it's great information on the deck that we'll get out to you. So again, infographics, ebooks, and video is part of the visual content that you're going to want to have and use. And these are important. These are some stats from NAR on the top real estate video types that are searched on YouTube. And when people are looking for real estate, they're looking for the community information first, listing information second, then information, more informative information after that, testimonials 30%, and then the about me, the about you is about 25% of what they're looking for. But they're looking for information that you're posting about the community that they're interested in, about the listings that are available, and then about some of the schools and other information that the community has that would be good for them. So the more of this kind of stuff you can have with your name tied to it, the more that they're going to, you're going to come up in their rotation of wanting to contact and speak to, and hopefully you grab them as a client. You must have quality photos of yourself and certainly of your listings, and it's incredibly important. Sharing your content online to build your presence is also important and needs to be professional and done well. And here's just this quick video that I want to run. It's pretty silly, but it's.
Most professions don't really show you their photos when they advertise, but for some reason realtors do, and I've always been surprised by, they're always on park benches, or they're very interesting photos, and these are real photos of realtors. This first one this is Brad Lamb from Toronto, Canada. This is his ad. All right, miles above the competition. So when it comes time to make the most important financial investment of your life, choose the space sheep. He wouldn't steer me wrong, that guy. That guy is... This is Dorita Mayu from Largo, Florida. There she is with her Doritos. The only problem with her is when she shows a house, well, take a look. This is one of the houses she was she's got the Cheeto. That's how she shows a house. Here's a wall, that's how she shows it. Not... This is an ad, this is on a bench in Royal LePage, Canada. Wendy Wacko. You don't want to go with just any wacko. That's not the first wacko I've seen on a park bench, by the way. This is Sandy Ohms in Fremont, California. Now, if you'll just push me down the hall, I'll show you the bedroom. All right, and here's another one of her ads, actually. This is real. This is her on the moon. For some reason in the background, there's another moon. Oh, my God. And then even on the moon, there's competition. Look who's out there. Oh, it's a guy. It's a guy. If you see a photo of a realtor you think I should see, send it to me. When we come back, Diane Keaton is going to be sitting right there.
She's good, but it's true. You know, some people try to be kind of silly, and it's okay to be yourself, certainly, but there's limits, I think. All right, let's get over here. All right, so building credibility through reviews. 45% of customers share their negative experiences over social media. 35% post them on review sites. I personally, before going into this, I would have thought that they were, actually, it was a bit higher than that. But nonetheless, that's the last thing you want to see are some negative reviews, certainly. So how do you try to get good ones? A lot of times you need to kind of set them up or ask them, why did you choose me? And or what was the biggest concern that they had, and what was the result or the fix that you supplied with them? So some basic questions that you can use or offer them when you ask for a review, because it's important, because others are going to be looking to see what your reviews look like. Be mobile friendly, an absolute must in this day and age. Something that we do as an example. If you have a new listing, you may have existing listings, and with access that Mike has to our system, when we do our marketing and our database of our clients, we can do single property websites where within minutes of getting the listing number from the MLS and from you guys, Mike can have a website set up, mobile ready to go on phones that you can use and send to your networks. Mike can use and set to his network. It's ready made. It pulls in all of your pictures, your videos, really professional looking and done. So it's something we offer for free. It helps either supplement what you already do. Another nice thing about these is, let's say your listings are on Zillow. There's not going to be any other agents that are shown that have property or sales stats or anything on it. This site is going to be solely about this property. There's no way of clicking to someone else or something else or another property from it. So it's kind of a capturing site as well. So anything that you're interested in or having more information on it, Mike can certainly run you through that. Again, using your design of social media, you want to own and inspire a local community, offline, online, inform, tickle, connect, and spark prospects. Video, email, social media, all centered around finding a home and lifestyle that your clients are looking for. So, and then obviously a brilliant finishing touch with brilliant customer service. So here's some, some real cool tools and resources that you can do to do some of the things that we've talked about today. So videos, number one, they're so important. I don't know if you do them currently. I know we have camera running here. I just started doing them myself. One of the funny things about them that always caught me is like people get concerned about doing it. Like, oh, geez, I look kind of silly. You're videoing yourself. You don't like how you look. Well, that's how we look. So, I mean, people see us in person, so who cares? They're going to see us on a video. That's how we look, and they're going to eventually meet us anyway. So, somewhere you can go to learn and help and create some really good videos is Videolicious. Another great site that you can use is Animoto. Can't see with the glare. Again, helping you create videos and add some detail around them, make them look nice and professional. If you're not quite ready to put yourself on the video but want to put videos out there, VScreen offers you solutions for that, so you can create videos without yourself being on them, and at least get into the video wave. As far as some of the infographics and ebooks that we spoke about earlier, Keeping It Current Matters is a good resource for looking at some of the options there and creating those. WordSwag also for adding some photos and texts and things to some of your posts. Bless you. Canva is another one that's used quite frequently and often. For online reviews, Social Survey, you can connect with them and set up surveys. You can tailor it to have only surveys at certain levels posted, and the ones that don't meet those levels, you can get notified and maybe reach back out to the client and find out what may have not gone quite well or how you could have served better, or maybe get them to increase their survey or change it. So Social Survey, a good spot for that. HomeSnap is one that can certainly be used as support for you guys. And in summary, how to connect and engage with these guys, get tech friendly and mobile friendly, stop selling and start helping, provide content that educates, build credibility with reviews and customer stories, align your brand with social causes, huge, 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 and be authentic, be yourself with videos. If you do a video and it's not perfect, that's okay. They want to see the human element. It doesn't have to be professionally clean. Kind of with that was, the bulk of the presentation. We're hoping that you guys got a couple of ideas. Anyway, yeah, an idea or two from it. It is a big to-do list.
What we try to do, if you're going to be live, take a video, just send it, shoot it in a text message. So if you're going to meet them wherever.
Yeah.
Starbucks, they already know what you look like. So as you walk in, it's not like searching around. So you take that edge off of that first encounter, that first face-to-face meeting. Yeah. And then the text messages and emails are okay for your contact, and you start talking and get things rolling. But the face-to-face meeting with the Millennial group is huge.
Yeah.
So much like phone calls don't worry. Have that face-to-face.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the opposite of all the technology. You have to have that face-to-face. You
Yeah.
can't just be on technology.
Ultimately, yep.
On
Yep.
phones and doing everything all the time. The face-to-face is
Yeah.
huge.
I agree. So good presentation, some good information for you guys. All right. Can Mike and I ask for a quick movement plug commercial? So we mentioned, Mike and I both have mentioned a couple of things that have brought us here to Movement Mortgage. And Mike and I have been at other places before. We both recently joined here and vetted the company pretty thoroughly. And one of the other big factors was our process. When Mike submits a loan, our underwriters have to look at it within 6 hours. Upfront underwrite, make a decision on that loan within 6 hours. And then our processing staff takes over and have 7 days to process that loan. And then with that, the ability to then close as soon as a day after. So a number of benefits to this. Anyone can come in here and say, we underwrite up front, we'll give you a quick answer up front. It is fully underwritten up front and in that time frame. We are, our process is baked in for that. I'm going to show you just a couple of quick things in a moment. But why is this important? it's important because, number one, you may have a contract and closing date is until 30 days from now. Well, it's like, well, so I don't need that quick of a turnaround, Mike. You know, so well, what we'll do is we're going to take that anxiety right off the table up front. So now we're giving you back time to do other things with that client or find other clients. You don't have to worry about the finance type. A second big piece of it is we do this up front. So you have a buyer who yet has found their property. We can gather all their information other than their property, obviously, put them through the same process, get them an underwritten and underwriter signed approval before they go out and look for the home. So we know that they're good to go. You know that they're good to go. That's huge. A third big aspect, and Mike has a deal going right now that is an example of it, is we have something called a rescue loan, and Mike brought some rescue loan kits here. If there is a deal going sideways at another lender, right? We're at a critical juncture of the month right now, right? If someone has a contract to close on April 30th, we're at the 10th, looking to get a clear close from whatever lender that they're at or hoping the conditions are all in, and now all of a sudden your current lender isn't calling you back, you're not hearing from them, they're asking for more information, you're getting a funny feeling it's not working out, we can jump in and take a look at it. Mike can gather information, put it in front of our underwriters, look at the loan, approve it, and still meet the end of the month to close because we've got this process that's quick. That is that quick. Mike has a deal going right now where another lender could not do the deal. Mike took it over, we've approved it, and we're just working through getting the appraisal from the other lender in order to be able to go ahead and close it. So real life work. And again, why I wanted to get on the internet to kind of drive this process home. So again, any lender can go out there and tout that they can do all this stuff, and Mike and I could have gone anywhere to work. So we post every month the results of our process across the country. So in March, as a company, we closed $1 billion worth of mortgages. So we're top 10 lender, number 7 purchase lender in the country. We closed over 4,500 loans in March for $1 billion. 84% of those loans were underwritten 6.7 hours up front and processed inside of 7 days. In February, the number was 86%. In January, it was 84%. In December, it was 86%. Every month we post these. So our system is built, and we then publicly advertise what we've done and accomplished as proof in the pudding, or that we walk the talk in the process. So it was impactful to me. It's impactful to our clients. Mike has a live deal going, as we just described, where it's saving someone and getting them into what they want, where they otherwise were being denied by another lender. So in wrapping it up, don't have to get it right 100%, just have to get it going. So, you know, anything that you haven't tried or hasn't been a success with, you know, captivating any of the millennials, hopefully something here you picked up that might help a little bit. And as I mentioned,